Recently joined the Centurion Group. It's a company that provides total security solutions based in California, founded over 20 years ago by retired Los Angeles Police Department veterans. I overlook the marketing and the operations of the organisation. I've worked for many medium-sized security companies as well as the largest security company in the world. What drew my attention to the Centurion Group was predominantly the fact that it was founded by LAPD retirees, veterans of the Los Angeles Police Department who have the operational know-how of how to bring in the public sector and merge that with the private security industry in providing law enforcement support services. Well, we provide anything from parking enforcement services to transportation services to jail services. There's more of a greater inclination of providing law enforcement support services in the United States. It's only been quite recent, and it's been a result of the economy's effect on our industry. We're faced with many challenges as far as the United States economy has, particularly in relation to privatization, globalization, and its effect on the United States labour market, and the domino effect that that has on outsourcing and the security industry. It's driving our wages low and it's keeping them low. So with the Australian market, you'll see that considerably that with a minimum award wage of $8 per hour, compared to Australia, I believe it's around $15.51, and the security industry award, which is about $17 or $18 an hour, there is a huge variance. I think both countries, the United States and Australia, are aiming towards standardization. Australia is a little bit further ahead than the United States as far as that's concerned, with standardizing the courses as far as classifications of security officers and the gradings and so forth, and getting a license in one state could ultimately allow you to qualify for a license in another state. It's not the same here. There is quite a lot of variables and variances in respect to licensing, in respect to training, in respect to background checks and screening. So I think there are a lot of similarities, but there's quite a lot of major differences, as well as the fact that the requirements for licensing for your security officer or obtaining a master license in Australia is very different to your PPO licenses here or obtaining a security guard license. In the United States, you can obtain a PPO license and be able to provide training for people who want to step into the security industry. In Australia, it's not the case. You only have to go to a registered training organisation to complete that level of training. So there's the standards as far as that's concerned. We don't have the same benefits as employees do overseas as well. You don't get your 4 weeks vacation, you don't get the allowances, the shift allowances, public holiday allowances, firearms allowances, meal break allowances and so forth. That's actually mandated in the Security Industry Award overseas in Australia. So we've got officers that are living in the United States and going paycheck to paycheck and cannot afford the rising cost of health insurance, and unless we come together collectively, bringing together ASIS International and state-based associations such as CalSAGA to guide us and push us through this ongoing cycle, we can't really break away and educate the market and the clients, which is the most important thing to do, as to buying a quality solution and improving the pay rates. And as a matter of fact, I've found with a lot of RFP processes that are currently taking place, they are asking for a complete price breakdown to ensure or see transparently what the pay rates are going to be. Law Enforcement and Private Security Conference is held annually here. I exhibit in that conference each year, and it's a fantastic opportunity not only for networking but also to educate local law enforcement on the benefits of privatisation and the amount of basically savings that they will get as far as outsourcing some of their law enforcement duties. I am the Secretary Chair of the Los Angeles chapter as well as the Memberships Director of ASIS in Santa Barbara. We have over 500 active members, and we have monthly meetings where we bring in speakers every month. It's a fantastic chapter as far as educating our members. We have annual seminars and so forth, and as far as networking, it provides everyone the opportunity to get to know one another. Quite recently, ASIS International has introduced a mentor-protege program. Now, we've actually been very delighted and successful as far as implementing that into our local chapter, and we are implementing that as we speak, and it basically allows ASIS members to partner up and team up with professionals in the security industry and put together designated outcomes of what they would like to achieve across various vertical markets that they might not have that knowledge about. So it's not only a great opportunity for general managers, but senior directors, managers of business development to further educate themselves. It is quite challenging, to say the least. It's definitely challenging because in my current position, I am the only female working in a management position and as a senior director. And in the past as well, working in a male-dominated industry has its challenges, but it's not so bad. I mean, I think the fact is that we're all working towards one common aim, one common goal. My interest, actually, I think, from my background, I grew up in a military family, so I was always basically, grown up with that kind of mentality of military around me, living in Air Force bases and so forth, and I think that ingrained its roots initially. And children of military families, quite a lot of them, including myself, who have been through a revolution and have actually endured the cultural changes that you're faced with of learning a new language, learning a new culture, and everything kind of step out of their comfort zone and step into newer initiatives and so forth.
And from ASIS International, the LA chapter, how many women would be members out of that 500?
Out of the 500, it is a very low ratio, Chris. It's probably about 1/5 of that are female.
But are you seeing an increase or more interest, even at an officer level?
Not so much. On an officer level, we do have more of a balance. But as far as management is concerned, I haven't seen that growth. I think pretty much the mindset and the culture is pretty much the same as far as working towards a common goal. Again, that goal being standardization in the industry. But you come here and you're faced with lower wages, as I mentioned before, and just a discrepancy as far as licensing requirements and everything. We don't work towards an award as such, so there's no minimum benchmarks, basically.
Do you see that on the agenda at all at a regulated level?
Through the assistance of CalSAGA and ASIS, we're working towards that, but it's a long process, and each state varies quite considerably. California is probably recognised as one of the most efficient as far as working towards that goal. In the past 10 years, we've seen such a rapid growth of private patrol operators because of just the requirements and the examination process. So CalSAGA representatives have actually improved that process to make it a lot more difficult to get a private patrol operator license by making the examination a lot more difficult in recent years. Security is an ever-changing era. We're also in a recession-proofed industry. But I think the main issue is that we have employees working in critical infrastructures across the nation on minimum wages with no benefits, and that's a major problem. So unless we can collectively come together and improve that, improve the standards, educate the market, improve the industry, we're faced with even more challenges. We have been for a very long time, more so now as a result of the economy in a bid war. And we've opened up ourselves to a lot of competition, and as a result of that, we cannot provide these benefits and so forth when we're bidding for jobs, because you'll lessen the amount of chances that you have in winning these jobs. So I think the education comes into play, and it's a very important aspect in that if that doesn't occur, then we're going to stay in the same standards that we are now. We're constantly educating ourselves, but we're not opening up these doors to educate the outside, the public sector. And I think the way the industry is headed towards, and hopefully we'll get to that in the near future, is to bring the public and the private sector together.
Great. Well, Yalda, thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure. Thanks, Chris.